It's a spirited fall Saturday in Madtown, where Badger Nation has climbed on the backs of their sensational backfield tandem. Melvin Gordon and James White continue to rewrite Wisconsin's record books. Today they host a team on a mission, the BYU Cougars, whose conference affiliation may be independent, but they're highly dependent on do-it-all quarterback Taysom Hill. We've got the makings for a classic late-season confrontation here at Camp Randall. BYU, Wisconsin, now. Welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com, and welcome to one of college football's best home fields. Here come the Badgers as they take the field here at Camp Randall Stadium, number 24, Wisconsin, hosting BYU this afternoon. It's a Wisconsin kind of football Saturday. Windy, chilly here in Madison. Exactly what you would expect in mid-November, and the wind could be a big factor. We've already had gusts exceeding 25 miles per hour. Should be a fun one. Hi again, everyone. I'm Bob Wischusen here with Rod Gilmore. Quinn Kesnick will join us in just a moment. Flipping through the channels this week, even today, watching Game Day and the guys on the panel talking about today's game on ESPNU. Dari Noka, Tom Luganbill discussing what games they found most interesting this weekend. This matchup was mentioned more than once. Two arguably very underrated teams.
Well, I agree. And I think for me, the other thing is that this is an elimination game. I mean, both these teams are 6-2, but they're good enough to go on a run and wind up 10-2. And if they are, they have a case to be made for the BCS. So whichever team loses today, they won't be able to make that case.
And just like the leaves change in fall, we get to Big Ten football, and Wisconsin's run game kicks it to a different level. What a 1-2 punch they've got.
Yeah, what a surprise. They can bring it when running the rock, and they've got a couple of guys that are just outstanding. Lots of attention from Melvin Gordon. He's outstanding. He's a guy that's going to give you the big play, the long ball, over 50 yards about 3 or 4 times already this season. He's an NFL prospect. But the more complete, in my opinion, all-around college player right now is White. Catches the ball in the backfield, knows how to lead a dance, and can run the football as well.
They have put up terrific numbers. The only team with 2 running backs this season that both average over 100 yards rushing. There's only one other team in college football, though, that has 2 players that average over 100 yards rushing. That's BYU. A lot to do with their quarterback, Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill, I think, really got on the national scene a couple of weeks ago with a couple of really big ball games. I think you remember the game against Texas. 259 yards rushing. And then he had the Houston game, which not a lot of people saw, but he went nuts in that game. But it was the Boise State game that really told the country he's a dual threat guy. 339 yards passing in that attack. So he is a guy to be reckoned with today for the Badgers.
One trip to Camp Randall, and you understand why it's a great home field advantage. We'll kick it off in a moment. BYU and Wisconsin. Welcome back to Camp Randall, a terrific home field advantage. The new head coach this year, of course, is Gary Anderson of the Wisconsin Badgers, and he takes the entire stadium in the locker room pregame.
Get yourselves in the moment. You know where you're at. Play for each other. Grind, dig in. Right there all the way through. Never too high, never too low. Wrap your arms around each other. Remember who you're playing for. Let's go get it done. Let's go. Fly, boys. Let's go. Let's go.
Great inside access as the head coach decided that his pregame speech should be something that's shared with the entire stadium, so they play it on the big screen here at Camp Randall pregame. And Gary Anderson and Bronco Mendenhall have a wonderful intertwined coaching history that we'll get into a little bit later on. But of course, Gary Anderson's history at Utah State. Rod, it was funny talking to him yesterday. Said he takes the Wisconsin job, looks at the schedule. It's like, you got to be kidding me. BYU is on the schedule. I've played them 16 out of the last 17 years.
Yeah. And he couldn't figure that out. He figured, now, wait a minute. Barry Alvarez is the AD. Used to be a head coach. Why would he schedule a tough BYU non-conference game in November?
Kenzel Doe back deep to receive the opening kick as BYU won the toss and deferred their option to the second half. So it will be Wisconsin starting with the football. And it will be very interesting based on the outcome of this game to project these 2 teams forward and what damage they may be able to do before the season is over. Though pinned up against the sideline, but it's returnable. You could see BYU had to have a player hold the football in place because Quint Kesnick, it's windy down there.
Yeah, beautiful day otherwise, but this wind is going to be a huge factor in this ball game. You know, outside the stadium right now, 25-mile-an-hour winds out of the west. But it's interesting here at Camp Randall, the wind enters the stadium and then swirls in multiple directions. Right now, Wisconsin operating into the wind. It's kind of blowing diagonally from left to right across the field towards the cameras, Bob.
So with a crosswind, Wisconsin starts on the ground, and as usual, effective. Melvin Gordon picks up 8 yards on first down. The redshirt sophomore Joel Stavy, who last season was the backup quarterback to start the year, ends up getting hurt midway through the year, comes back, wins the job in camp again this season. So in spite of the fact that he is a second-year starter, Gary Anderson talked about how inexperienced he still is. But he has a run game to support as much as any quarterback in America. And it's Melvin Gordon again at tailback. Another handoff to Gordon. Trying to bounce it outside. Nowhere to go. Reversing field and losing yardage big time. All the way back to the 20-yard line. Guess who?
Yeah.
Kyle Van Noy. He is the master of the tackle for loss.
Well, he's a guy that you really can't run away from. He makes plays. He's a guy who should be playing in the NFL. But he decided to come back this year for a senior season and improve his draft status and hang around campus. But he's a guy that's on the fringe of the first round of the draft next spring.
A loss of 11 from 2nd down and 2 to 3rd and 13. Stavy well protected. High throw, and it's caught at the first down marker. Jordan Frederick moves the chains. A 3rd and 13 conversion for Wisconsin.
You know, you talked about the inexperience of Stavy. He's a guy that, you know, was hurt last year so he hasn't had that many starts under his belt. But he does have composure. I mean, he's not a guy who gets frustrated in the pocket. And you saw it there.
You can see Dan Volz, who gets the start today at center. He's only a redshirt freshman. Dallas Llewellyn, normal starting center, and a junior is injured, so it's a freshman to a sophomore in that battery, center to quarterback. Stavy to the outside, and that's tipped away from Jordan Frederick. It will be 2nd down and 10.
Well, we should keep an eye on Volz. You mentioned him being the center and starting today. You know, he's a redshirt freshman. He's facing a grown man in the middle, in Ethan Manamalo-Una, who's, what, 25 years old and about 300 pounds? And so Volz has his hands full, not just with an older guy, I mean a much older guy, but a fully mature guy.
White finds a lane. Into the secondary, breaking tackles. Into BYU territory for a gain of 18 on 2nd down and 10.
Well, this is the brand of Wisconsin football, and Volz is right there smack dab in the middle of it at the center spot. Going to give you a nice, good block, holds his position, creates a good gap there, that A gap between the guard and the center, and White gets right in there. That's a good job by the young freshman.
And an injury to what is a pretty deep linebacking core for BYU, but they don't want to lose Spencer Hadley. And he right now is being carried off the field, barely able to put any weight on his left leg.
Well, Hadley, as a player, has really grown, done really well. A lot of attention given to Van Noy, but he has quietly become a really good linebacker on the other side.
Play action for Stavy. Low throw, and it's incomplete. So it will be 2nd down and 10. Jared Abbrederis, the intended receiver, as we go down to Quinn.
Guys, Spencer, Paul Tidwell, who's BYU's linebackers coach prior to the game, and he mentioned to me prior to the game, he goes, we're lacking depth at the linebacker position. Keep in mind, Austin Jorgensen, 46 tackles, #2, done for the year, had knee surgery due to cartilage damage. So this is a BYU linebacking core that's a bit shorthanded.
Bronco Mendenhall talked about not only Wani Unga and Kyle Van Noy, but also about Spencer Hadley as being a draftable player. Melvin Gordon with a good push. Close to a first down.
Well, this is really what they do. You know, they are a throw it when we want to throw it team. And that's always been the way Wisconsin has been. And Gary Anderson completely buys into that philosophy. I mean, he had a tough running game when he was at Utah State.
3rd down and 1. James White straight ahead, hit hard. It depends on the spot. It looks like he was able to pick up the first down. Kyle Van Noy helped on the tackle, but Wisconsin, as you would think this team would do, on 3rd down and 1, they moved the chains.
Yeah. Again, this is kind of what Barry Alvarez created, what he built here. A team that is based on strong in-state offensive linemen, good solid quarterback play, and outstanding running backs.
James White, the tailback again. He's 3rd among active running backs in FBS in total yards. And Melvin Gordon, about as fast as any player's gotten to 1,000 yards in a season in Wisconsin history. Down close to the 30-yard line goes White. Gain of 5.5.
You look at that and you say 5.5 like it was a two-yard gain. I mean, they're just driving and cleaning it up right now inside. And I thought they would struggle a little bit early as Volz got comfortable at the center spot. But they've run right behind him most of this drive, and he's done a really good job.
The thing that impressed me so much about talking to Gary Anderson about James White is how supportive he has been of Melvin Gordon. White, the senior, in there on 2nd down and 5. And he'll probably be replaced by Gordon on the next play. That's how they bounce back and forth. Stabby steps up in the pocket. Dumps it over the middle. Scooped up, wide open White. They lost track of it. And he makes them pay. Down inside the 5-yard line goes James White. It will be 1st and goal at about the 4.
Patience and composure in the pocket. And that's what Stabby had there. I mean, he had nothing down the field, and then he just managed to just stay calm. You'll see him here. You're going to see the back slip on out. That's White. Watch the patience. Finds time and comes off of the deep routes and finds White just waiting there.
11th play of the drive. 1st and goal from the 4. James White walks into the end zone. The 41st rushing touchdown of James White's career. And a terrific opening drive for Wisconsin. Jack Russell tacks on the point after. 11 plays, 76 yards, and it's 7-0 Badgers.
Now that running game, that combination of Gordon and White was mostly White. But you know what? 6 points like that, easy done. He gets to dance with his buddy.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Not many better spots to be than Madison on a football Saturday, and James White starts off the day for the Badgers with a touchdown run. It's 7-0 Wisconsin. White was the Robin to Monte Ball's Batman for the past several seasons. And the coaching staff went out of their way to talk about how supportive he's been of the sophomore Melvin Gordon when it, as a senior, kind of should have been his turn.
Well, he ran for 1,000 yards a couple of seasons ago, and to give that up and play second fiddle is not easy.
Adam Hine breaks a tackle and a good return across the 30 before he steps out of bounds. So it will be the 33-yard line starting field position for Taysom Hill. Averaging 358 yards of total offense per game, 6th best in America. He throws for over 250 yards. He runs for over 105 yards per game. And so much of it, the designed quarterback run.
Absolutely. They want him involved. He is the first option on offense.
Jamal Williams is partner in crime in the backfield, but Hill on a rollout, looking downfield. Nice little head fake. Keeps the play alive and picks up a couple of yards. Pushed out of bounds by Chris Borland, who returns this week from a hamstring injury that kept him out of the Iowa game last week.
Yeah, and he's the guy that helps that defense tremendously, even though there was a great performance by Trotter last week.
Nowhere to go. Hill is thrown down for a 2-yard loss by Ethan Armstrong as we go down to Quinn.
Guys, keep your eyes on Chris Borland because he will take you to the ball. As you said, didn't play last week, hamstring injury against Iowa. Practice full tilt Wednesday, Thursday. His diagnostic abilities are off the charts. He's always a step ahead. He's got great feet, and he's a leader. When he talks, the Badgers listen.
He's in the middle on 3rd down and 12. Taysom Hill, long throw to the sideline, looking for his favorite target, Cody Hoffman. But he's out of bounds, and it will be 3 and out for BYU. Wisconsin forces a 3 and out on 46% of opponents' offensive possessions. That's 4th best in America, and they start with a tough team to get off the field in 3 downs today.
Well, that 1st down play set the tone. I mean, once they were able to make a play on 1st down, they put BYU in a tough spot.
Wobbly kick. Kenzel Doe waves his teammates away, and it takes a sideways hop. So Wisconsin back to the offense at their own 24. It was boogie time on the opening drive for Gordon and White. They've got the 7-0 lead.
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. Get the right car without all the drama. Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Applebee's. Vets and active duty military enjoy a free Applebee's entree on Veterans Day.
And with Veterans Day upon us, Operation Dust Off Vietnam Remembered was a program sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Veteran Affairs. The event kicked off this weekend with a motorcycle rally outside the state capitol building. And a moment ago, some wounded warriors were honored on the field here at Camp Randall as well. Back to the offense for Wisconsin. Wide receiver hitch, and it's the running back James White flexed out. He picks up a handful as we take a look at today's impact players, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Well, our impact players have not had a huge impact on the Wisconsin defense yet. Offense, rather. That's Kyle Van Noy, one outstanding linebacker. Spencer Hadley, saw him leave the field with the knee injury. And Uwani Unga, inside linebacker, will have to be a factor. A lot of those runs in that opening drive went right up the middle, one of the places where Unga is playing.
Barely getting to the 30-yard line was Melvin Gordon, so it will be 3rd down and 4. And let's go back down to Quinn.
Bob, senior Spencer Hadley done for the day with a left knee injury, exchanging hugs behind the bench. Kind of an emotional scene as his teammates realize not only maybe he's done for this game, but it could be worse than that. BYU puts in a long and lanky linebacker, number 5, Alani Fua, who is built to cover in the slot and outside. We'll see how he can stand up if Wisconsin tries to run downhill on him.
Fua built more like a small forward. That's 6'5", 215. Different body type than Hadley, that's for sure. 3rd down. Handoff, bouncing back and not finding any room. So Wisconsin gets shut down on 3rd down. They will have to punt it away as Unga plugged the hole. And he was able to stop James White. BYU is pretty good at getting a team off the field 3 and out as well.
Yeah, but they are missing a key return guy for them today, which could have an impact, particularly talking about this kind of weather, the wind, and what impact it could have. Falslave is not there.
So it's Skylar Ridley back to receive the punt that floats out of bounds. So again, pretty good field position for the Cougars at their own 33. We go back to Reese Davis.
Bob, Taco Bell studio update. Coach O's Trojans taking on the sturdy Golden Bears, who are not very sturdy, against Buck Allen. Buck had 133 yards against Oregon State and off to a good start in this one. 53 yards, including the 43-yard touchdown run. Bears have put one on the board. It's 21-7 fighting Coach O's.
All right, Reese, it's 7-0 Wisconsin here. And Taysom Hill well protected over the middle, and the ball jarred free. Cody Hoffman couldn't hang on. Borland was there in coverage. He was surrounded, so Cody Hoffman can't come up with a completion. As Joe Schobert involved on the tackle as well.
Yeah, Hoffman's going to get a lot of attention. He is the go-to receiver. Look at that. 3 guys. I mean, he's going to get attention on first down and particularly third down throwing downs.
Designed run, and Taysom Hill hit hard after a gain of 3.
And this is when Wisconsin goes to their third down package, their peso package. Couple of down linemen, extra linebackers.
They show blitz, and here they come. Borland spun free up the middle, forces the high throw, and the interception. Tanner McAvoy gets to the sideline, and Wisconsin has it back at the BYU 34-yard line. What a move by Chris Borland.
That's all generated by the pressure. That's the peso package, a great spin move by Borland. That's designed to get him into the backfield. They use it. Look at that spin move. And that pressure creates the turnover.
The first career interception for Tanner McAvoy. He'd been a quarterback until fall when he broke his thumb in practice. Couldn't take snaps from the center anymore, but they like his athleticism. So they said, well, maybe try safety out.
Well, he still wants to play quarterback. Thinks he's going to go back there.
He should stop picking balls off them. Melvin Gordon into a pile. A gain of only a yard.
Well, you know, one of the things about this Wisconsin offense, when they run the ball, like the way they did that opening drive, they get to do what they want. They can throw the ball when they want to. They want to dictate when the ball goes in the air. And that's why running so well early is a big key for them.
They gave Gordon a gain of 2 on first down. Second down and 8. Now it's James White in at tailback. Nice play action fake by Stavi. Floats it to the sideline. Abradaris. And it's underthrown and almost intercepted. Daniel Sorensen got his left hand up and almost came down with a one-handed pick.
Well, he's throwing into the wind. That's the area where that wind swirls, as Quint told you about earlier. Throws it directly in that area. That ball does not carry as far, and Sorensen's able to make a play on it. But I think that's a win factor throw right there.
Are you surprised the home team quarterback maybe wouldn't have recognized that that throw required a little more mustard?
He thinks he's got a cannon on his arm. He's going to let it fly. And when was the last time he was here? September?
It's been about 3 weeks. Third down and long. 4-man rush for BYU. Stavi well protected. Throws it over the middle. The catch made. Kenzel Doe coughs it up. And BYU's got it back. So the teams trade turnovers. Craig Bills gets the fumble recovery. And it was Jeremiah Leuta-Duyere that knocked it free from Kenzel Doe. Doe may have just dropped it.
First question was really, did he have control and fumble? It certainly looked like he catches it. Yep, he makes a football move. He's on his way. He just gives that thing up. BYU back in it with a turnover.
Kenzel Doe's fumble gives it back to BYU as the Cougars and Badgers trade turnovers. Bob Wischusen, Rod Gilmore, and Quinn Kesnick here in Madison. And off to Jamal Williams. Gets the drive started for the Cougars for a gain of 3.
Well, the Cougars haven't gotten into a rhythm yet, and their rhythm is Taysom Hill. I mean, design quarterback runs to get him going. Then the second option is throwing to Hoffman, and the third option is Williams. So they're a little backwards right now.
Ross Appo with his first catch, and that's good for a first down.
Think about what Taysom Hill has done this year. This is against pretty good competition. Texas, Georgia Tech, Houston, Boise State. Look at all the touchdowns. And they rely on him an awful lot.
They set the screen up, and Jamal Williams, with a flag down, breaks a tackle. Picks up about 6 yards if the play stands. We'll have to check the penalty marker.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
So Bronco Mendenhall takes the penalty and makes it 1st and 5 rather than 2nd and 4.
Now, Taysom Hill, I know you knew this, that he's what, 23 years old, 23-year-old sophomore, who verbally committed to Stanford and Jim Harbaugh.
Hill on a rollout, nowhere to go. What a job to break a tackle and throw it away. Avoids a sack and what would have been about a 10-yard loss. And I know you've got a gritting of the teeth a bit when you say that there's actually a quarterback that committed to Stanford and then decided to go elsewhere.
Yeah, he went on a mission. And
how do you do that? How do you say yes to Stanford and then no to Stanford?
I don't know, but he went on a mission and he came back and Jim Harbaugh left, and I guess he thought things would change. I think Kevin Hogan's okay with that.
2nd down and 5. Jamal Williams breaks a tackle, and there he goes down the sideline. And with all the publicity that Taysom Hill has received this season, the sophomore Jamal Williams, who averages nearly 105 yards per game, should not be forgotten. He's a quality running back. That's a gain of 12.
You know, when they inserted him into the lineup midseason last year, the offense started to really take off. As a freshman, he gave them a spark.
Hill buying time, and that's a gain of about 7, maybe 8 yards as he finds Devin Mahina, junior tight end in Wisconsin territory.
You know, as we studied Taysom Hill this week, look at the numbers of his top receiver, Hoffman there. Maybe the best receiver in BYU history.
Leading his way for a first down is Jamal Williams. Bronco Mendenhall talked about the fact that you think about the history of BYU, all of the great quarterbacks and passing offenses they've had.
Yep.
Cody Hoffman goes down as #1 across the board as the top receiver in the history of the program.
Who comes to mind? What, Austin Collie?
So you do think more about the quarterbacks than the guys who caught the balls from the quarterbacks at BYU.
You think Steve Young? You think Ty Detmer?
Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon, Mark Wilson. I mean, all those, Gifford Nielsen, those are the guys that come up. You don't think, well, who are the guys catching the passes? Except for Glenn Kozlowski.
Slant caught for a first down, Mitch Matthews.
Now, one of the things that we noticed about Taysom Hill as we looked at film of him this week, he is a better quarterback, more accurate on the move than sitting in the pocket. His comfort zone seems to be roll him out or let him throw on the run.
A little flip into the right flat. Paul Lasike. He's down to the 16-yard line. Another BYU first down, and now the Cougars are getting into that rhythm you talked about, Ross.
Tempo. They've got the tempo going. Here's a little, what looks like a backwards pass. That might have been actually a forward pass. Very close there. Doesn't matter. They got some yardage out of it.
Hill to the end zone. Incomplete. He wanted Cody Hoffman. Let's head down to Quinn.
This is the area of the field, guys, where BYU's wide receivers, with their height, hope to do some damage. Matthews is 6'6", Hoffman 6'4", Ross Appo, #1, is 6'3", taking on 5'9" corners from Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's an issue. Been there, done that. That's a problem.
Trying to turn the corner and getting blown out by Chris Borland was Adam Hine. So it brings up a big play. 3rd down and about 7.
You know, pound for pound, inch for inch, that guy might be the best defensive football player around. I mean, they list him at 5'11". No, he's not.
There's no team in college football that's better in terms of opponent red zone touchdown percentage than Wisconsin. And they've got Hill on the run. He throws it out of bounds. Will they rule it a sack? Did he get it back to the line of scrimmage? The officials will confer.
It looks
looks as if they will say it was a legal throw out of bounds.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw, if you could read the lips, it got across the line of scrimmage. Now he's outside the tackle box, so as long as he gets the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, this is okay. And that's right in front of the official there.
31-yard field goal attempt for Justin Sorensen, and that gets BYU on the board. Still, Wisconsin in 4+ home games have allowed only 1 touchdown here at Camp Randall. Back in 60 seconds. Back at Camp Randall, ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. 7-3, Wisconsin has the lead as Kenzel Doe's fumble gives the ball back to BYU. And Rod, that was an impressive march that resulted in only 3, so Wisconsin gets the red zone stop, but this could have been 14-0 in a blink.
Yeah, it was the fumble by Kenzel Doe that put the ball on the ground. BYU got it, and then they got into the rhythm. You know, the up-tempo offense got going, made a couple plays, but the Wisconsin defense in the red zone, as it has been all season, was really, really tough.
So it is Kenzel Doe back to receive the kick. You always look ahead. The schedule comes out. We're wondering where we may end up each week and what games you might get assigned. When you looked a couple of weeks ahead, you saw this one on the calendar. Wisconsin, BYU. Were you struck by this type of a matchup the way most seem to be?
Yeah, I thought, this could be interesting.
Doe from the 4. Dragged down at the 31. Saturday Night Football on ABC later on this evening, presented by Windows. It's number 23 Notre Dame. They've won 4 straight as they take on the Pitt Panthers, a team they've defeated the last 3 meetings between the two, including last year's triple overtime thriller in South Bend. Saturday Night Football tonight, Notre Dame Pitt, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Yeah, Notre Dame can't afford a slip-up tonight. I mean, they still have BYU and Stanford out there. If they're going to get to a BCS game, they probably have to win out.
James White caught behind the line. Loss of 1.5 yards. Let's check in on Johnny Football with Reese.
Jonathan Pigskin, as I like to call him, had his team on top of Mississippi State 7-0. But Josh Robinson, who had 48 yards combined in his last 3 games, goes 51 through the Aggie defense. So Old Bullies tied up with A&M at 7.
All right, Reese, thanks very much.
Jonathan Pigskin?
That's the more formal
way to say it. I thought the casual one was John Football.
Second down and long. James White finds a little cutback lane and picks up 5. It'll be 3rd down and a long 6 coming for Wisconsin.
Are you as surprised as I am at how much they're running inside behind Volz, the center? I mean, that's an awful lot of confidence that they've shown in him with their rushing attack. I mean, he's done a really good job stepping in there for Dallas Llewellyn.
Well, Ryan Groy, the guard on his left, is a 5th-year senior and was 2nd team All Big Ten last season. Kyle Costigan on the right side, 315-pound guard. So he's got help in there. Stabby now wants to set up the screen and does. Sneaking out, though, and making a terrific play was Wani Unga. So the senior read the screen and brings down White, and again it is a 3-and-out for Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's just a really smart play by a senior linebacker who feels this. He feels what's happening here, understands that something's not right, and he sees White out to the right and gets on out there. That's savvy experience coming into play. Those linebackers, even without Hadley, have stepped it up.
Skylar Ridley will watch another punt float out of bounds with pretty good field position for BYU. It was interesting preparing for this game, talking to you this week, that you think with a win today, and there's a lot of football left to be played, there's still a realistic BCS at-large path for Wisconsin.
I think this is a BCS elimination game. If Wisconsin wins out and they go 10-2, they won't be playing in the championship game of the Big Ten. That'll be Michigan State probably and Ohio State. And if you have that, and let's say Ohio State gets to the national championship game, your likely other at-large berth is going to be between Michigan State.
12 men on the field in the formation. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Michigan State and Wisconsin. And Wisconsin could argue, hey, we played Ohio State pretty tough. And then you have the debacle with Arizona State and say, hey, don't penalize us for that.
What might be the final play of the first quarter. On 1st and 15 after the penalty, Taysom Hill pulls it down and gets pulled down. Got back to the original line of scrimmage. Joe Schobert tripped him up after a gain of 5, so it will be 2nd down and actually close to 11. Let's see if BYU gets another snap off before the end of the quarter.
Could you see that scenario playing out for Wisconsin?
It's an interesting way that those events might unfold. You're right. But I think Wisconsin's an undervalued team, just generally speaking.
Agreed.
Jamal Williams. You think about the fact that they're a 2-loss team, but they're 2 losses by a touchdown on the road in primetime against Ohio State, and arguably a loss that should not have
That's
been.
the end of the first quarter.
Which is something we'll
Media
talk about
timeout.
and revisit shortly, because it still doesn't sit well with the head coach Gary Anderson after 1 quarter of play. 7-3 Badgers. Just about set for the start of the second quarter. ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. Number 24, Wisconsin, hosting BYU. Interesting matchup 2/3 of the way through the season. Badgers with a 7-3 lead. 3rd down play, and a little trap handoff to Jamal Williams. Inventive by the Cougars, and it picks up 3rd down and then some.
Well,
terrific design.
Well, yeah, but interesting. Wisconsin told us that they would be looking for draws and trap plays on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 plus, and there it was. They just didn't pick up on it. Well-designed play.
Hill off the play-action fake. Extends the play and throws it away again. Derek Landish just about brought him down. It will be 2nd down and 10.
I really think that what we saw on film is holding true today. That Taysom Hill is more comfortable and is better and more accurate when he moves, when they change the launch point. He's a little antsy when he's just dropping back in the pocket.
Hill pulls it down. Can't turn the corner. Closing speed by Michael Caputo. A loss of a ½ yard. 3rd down and long.
That's just a great play by Caputo. I mean, the way this is designed, you figure Hill's going to get to that edge, but Caputo dismisses a blocker and makes the tackle.
Four-man rush on 3rd and 10. Across his body, a strike thrown. Terrific throw by Taysom Hill. Good for a 1st down. Kaniakua Friel, the tight end, finds a soft spot and walls off a defender to pick up 11.
Not much of a window there. I mean, the way this ball is thrown to this big target, look at Hill. He's on the move, and he puts it there on the money. And that's strong accuracy when you're on the move.
Diamond formation on 1st down, and a straight handoff to Heenan. A gain of 2. Caputo came up to make the stop.
You see all those single-digit numbers? Wisconsin is bringing pressure on almost every play. I mean, they're trying to make sure they take away those outside running lanes so that Hill can't get to the edge. And so far, they've held him in check running the ball.
Play action for Hill on 2nd down and long. He's looking end zone. Man-for-man coverage, knocked away. Intended for Cody Hoffman, but Darius Hillary, the nickelback, was there to make the breakup, and now it will be 3rd down and 8.
Well, Hillary is only about 5'11", 5'10", up against a 6'4" Hoffman, but that ball is underthrown. That ball's got to be up and higher, but remember, he's throwing into that crosswind over there. And keep that in mind in this situation here.
Timeout called by BYU.
BYU, their first timeout. Media.
So the Cougars trying to keep the drive alive. And you wonder if they're even in field goal range yet going into the win. 100th Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio on New Year's Day. And certainly a dark horse team to possibly appear in that Rose Bowl, the Wisconsin Badgers. They have forced 3rd down and 8, interesting area of the field. Talking about what BYU's reasonable field goal range would be in this direction. You can see they're barely inside where Sorensen would feel comfortable, but now they might be barely outside where Sorensen might feel comfortable.
Well, that wind is a factor, particularly in that right side, that right corner where it's swirling around. As a defender,
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. The down remains 3rd.
as a defender, you're aware of it, and it tells you where you can expect the deep ball and when you can jump on shorter routes. And now for the kicker, he's got to be able to think in terms of how he can squeeze that thing down there with the way the wind plays.
And now it's 3rd and 13, and you see they need at least 4 yards to get into what they feel would be field goal range in this direction. They want to keep it, won't get there. And now what do you do?
Yeah.
It's 4th down and long, 4th at about 12 or so. Maybe outside of field goal range?
Yeah, well, Borland making that play really made it tougher for them.
And they'll punt.
Yeah, they're going to play the percentages here. That field goal with the wind probably couldn't get up there. But you got a chance to pin them down here.
So Scott Arlano is going to try to kill this inside the 10-yard line as BYU will play field position. That's a big stop for Wisconsin.
Tells you how strong that wind is.
A little pooch punt into the wind, and this will sail into the end zone. So that only nets BYU about 13 yards of field position, as Wisconsin will have it at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, but clearly they were afraid of that wind.
Let's check today's Aflac trivia question. Here's an interesting one. In the last 20 seasons,
Aflac,
who are the only 2 teams with 6 Rose Bowl appearances?
In the last 20 seasons? Well, I can eliminate a lot of teams right off the bat. you start looking at
Not
the
that our
bottom.
crew's giving you a hint here, by the way.
Well, yeah. You
Start
can figure
counting the banners.
Yeah. You figure Ohio State maybe and Wisconsin. And then other than that, you start crossing off the bottom of the Big Ten.
Play action on a rollout for Stavi. Throws back to the sideline. Abradaris climbs the ladder, and he's got a gain of about 20.
Well, how about that? Abracadabra, and he appears. Abradaris has been silent until now. Wind at their back. They come out, and they get it out to him. Now, he missed the second half of last week's game against Iowa with a rib injury of some sort, but he is the key receiver on this team.
Originally a walk-on quarterback that has become one of the top receivers in the Big Ten. Play action again for Stavi. Again looking for a chunk play, and that is batted around and intercepted on the carom.
That's Kyle Van Noy. Are you kidding me? They were trying to get the ball to Pedersen, the tight end, and Kyle Van Noy happened to be in the area. I mean, the skill set on this guy. He's running downfield with the tight end. He gets back in there to help make a play, and the ball falls into his lap. He's on his back and comes up with it. You know, people talk about his ability to play the run, his ability to blitz, but what gets overlooked is that he plays well in the zone.
Intercepted pass. The previous play is under further review.
Well, they'll take another look just to make sure the ball didn't hit the ground, but it certainly looked as if it fell right into the arms of Kyle Van Noy for a BYU pick.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install. Tire Rack.
Here on Wisconsin's campus, the Abe Lincoln statue unveiled in 1909 outside of Bascom Hill, and students rub Abe Lincoln's left foot for good luck. Some bad luck a moment ago, though, for Wisconsin. They did go to the review, and it was determined that the call on the field stands, an interception for Kyle Van Noy. Play action for Taysom Hill. He wants the home run ball. Man-for-man coverage. Just off the fingertips of Mitch Matthews. And incomplete.
Well, how about Taysom Hill showing off his arm a little bit there? I mean, he's throwing into the wind, but remember that wind swirls to the right side. He throws this to the left side where he gets a little bit of boost, gets it through there. That's a pretty darn good throw.
A 5-yard gain to Friel. It will be 3rd down and 5 for BYU. And continuing to move the football. BYU now, but in that 3rd down and medium.
Yeah. 3rd straight pass likely to show up here. A little bit out of rhythm because of the 1st down incompletion.
5-man rush on 3rd down. Long throw to the outside, and there's the first catch for Cody Hoffman, and it's good for a 1st down.
And that's a matchup they want to have. They want Hoffman at 6'4" on the smaller corners. And this one puts him out there against Hillary, who's about 5'10", 5'11". Ball a little underthrown, but Hoffman makes the play. Now, the adjustment for Wisconsin is to try and get their bigger inside guy, Southward, the strong safety, out on some of those big wide receivers.
False start. Offense, number 82, 5-yard penalty. The down remains 1st.
Well, Kyle Van Noy gets that interception. You know, talk about a guy that stuffs the stat sheet. He is the only player in FBS to record a stat in every defensive category the last 2 years. And if he comes up with a fumble recovery and a blocked kick this year, he'll do it for a 3rd straight year. Taysom Hill up the sideline, broken up.
You know, you talk about Van Noy and all his stats. Remember, Bronco Mendenhall has coached defense for a long time. And he coached Brian Urlacher. You know Brian Urlacher. Well, Bronco says the highest guy with the highest football IQ outside of Urlacher is this guy, Kyle Van Noy. He knows where to go. He knows how to make plays.
Well, his takeaway gives it back to BYU, but now the Cougars faced with 2nd down and long. Hill on a rollout. Nice finds as Aaron Haupt comes back to help out his quarterback. Picks up about 7, but it will be 3rd down and long. Now in Wisconsin territory.
But Wisconsin has had Hill on the run. I mean, he wants to move outside and throw. I think he likes that, but he doesn't want to be running for his life. And right now, there's been pressure almost every single down brought by this defense.
Blitz coming. BYU picks it up, but Hill misses Hoffman. So now it's 4th down, and BYU will have to punt once again.
You see the change up there? They had Southward on Hoffman, the bigger guy. Southward, 6'2", strong safety, can play a little corner. He was out there on Hoffman. So the cat and mouse game is working between these staffs on how to match up with the tall receivers.
Erlano to punt once again, and it's Kenzel Doe at the 10-yard line to receive. Into the breeze, so that ball flutters, and Doe comes up and makes a fair catch at the 17. Jimmy Johnson with a slim 7-point lead over Matt Kenseth. The chase for the Sprint Cup hits the home stretch. Only 2 races remain as the series heads to Phoenix and Phoenix International Raceway. The NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup at Phoenix presented by Quicken Loans tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN.
I'm just mad at myself. I mean, I told you a couple weeks ago it was over, and then you gave me grief last week because, you know, Kenseth did a nice job, and so I got all worried and I kind of backed off JJ. Never again.
He leads by a touchdown going to the 4th quarter.
2 left. He's got a nice lead. Be all right tomorrow.
Up the middle goes Melvin Gordon. And a chance once again to say hello to Reese Davis.
Hello, Bob. Dating Texas A&M and Mississippi State one more time. Johnny Manziel throws a seed for Travis Labhart. 33 yards for the score. Manziel has thrown a pick in this game. 16-7 after 1 in Aggie land.
Well, the low-scoring game we anticipated here at Camp Randall. has held up so far. Wisconsin with a 7-3 lead in the football. Their opening drive impressive, but they've done nothing on offense since. Melvin Gordon all of a sudden makes a play. Spin move by Melvin Gordon. Stays on his feet out to the 42-yard line.
Just watch his patience. He is so patient. He waits for this to develop. Watch him right now. He's waiting, pausing for Pedersen to make that block. He gets it, and then away he goes. That's just why he breaks off the big runs, the long runs, because he's a patient runner who sets up his blockers really well. That was a great run.
6th in the country, averaging over 134 yards per game, Melvin Gordon. And now James White in there. He averages over 100 a game as well. He makes a move. James White down the sideline with the stiff arm. Another big play on the ground for Wisconsin.
Yeah, Robertson Daniel is still on the ground. He got out there one-on-one with White. Watch what White does to him. Hello. Goodbye. Oh, man.
You've never been in that position.
Not that I would admit to now.
So after Gordon picks up 23, White comes back with a 22-yard gain, and just like that, Wisconsin at the BYU 36. And now it's Melvin Gordon back in there. He's flexed out to the far side left. Up the middle for 6 more. Down close to the 30-yard line. Manu Maliuna made the tackle.
He's that older senior. Talked about 25 years old. Started playing football at BYU back in 2007.
Halfway through the second quarter, and Wisconsin, they've turned it over twice, but they still have a 4-point lead. Melvin Gordon bounces it to the near side right, runs out of room. Bottled up by the Cougar defense. Alani Fua held the edge that time. It will be 3rd down and 4.
Well, we talked about Fua being a guy who looks more like a basketball player, but he showed some toughness there, hanging in there, creating the edge and forcing it back inside. And now you've got a 3rd down, which is a big, big deal here, because they're in field goal range or close to field goal range.
Stabby in the shotgun on 3rd and 4. Steps up, finds Abradaris, but he has to go down and scoop up that throw about a yard shy of the 1st down.
Yeah, he was open. Better thrown ball. He picks up the 1st down easily, and he's still moving.
4th down and 1. Is there a decision to make for Gary Anderson? Not much. He's going to leave his offense on the field.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. I mean, the way you've been running the ball.
BYU tries to anticipate the snap count. Plenty of room, though, for James White to pick up the 4th down conversion.
Ryan Grove on the left side, the left guard, and Volts at center, doing a really nice job. I mean, you just take a look at these guys over here and the job that they do. They've been stellar all game, but look at the push they get, turn and create that crease, get a nice pull over there by Kosig in 54, and it opens up the lane there.
6 for 10 this season. Wisconsin now on 4th down, and they keep the drive alive. And now it's James White back in at tailback, with Gordon flexed out wide to the left. White to about the 20-yard line for 4.
Now the dilemma for BYU down here is, how do you play Abradaris on the outside? If you single up, they're going to throw it against you. And he's tough in one-on-one coverage. Just ask Ohio State about that. If you double him, that's going to allow Wisconsin to continue to try and pound the ball inside. They'll have a numbers advantage. So he's really the key down here. He dictates what they will do offensively.
Abradaris to the top of your screen. He's the widest man out to the left. Hand off instead to Gordon. And he's got nowhere to go. So another third down coming for Wisconsin at the BYU 20. It'll be 3rd down and 6 as Wani Unga made another tackle. He's in the top 15 in the country in total tackles this season.
Yeah, he's a player. He's really stabilized things inside. And now if you're thinking along with Wisconsin offensively, you see the even distribution between those two rushers. You've got Alvarez and you've got Pedersen. Pedersen, the tight end, is an NFL player. I mean, one of those two guys, those are the places you look down here, and those are the guys you have to defend.
Stavi floats one into traffic. No chance to pick up the first down. Pedersen makes the reception, but he is immediately planted well shy of the chains.
Pakula
It'll be 4th
was there.
down.
Yeah, Pakula was right there. I mean, he's just right there waiting and reading, and he's looking for the tight end. Pedersen's in the backfield pretending to be a blocker. It's a tight end screen, and Pakula is just right there.
So from 38 yards away, it's Jack Russell, the sophomore. He has not made a kick so far this season, 0 for 2. He gets a chance as the place kicker instead of Kyle French. And this one is good. So Russell with his first made field goal. He enjoyed it. And that extends Wisconsin's lead back to a touchdown. An 11-play, 63-yard field goal drive for Wisconsin. And the Badgers are up by 7 once again. Bob Wischusen alongside Rod Gilmore, down on the field Quinn Kesnick. And Rod, how about the job that Gary Anderson has done as he has now taken this program and molded it as well as he possibly can, keeping some of those Barry Alvarez and traditions alive. Return out to the 25-yard line. Let's go back to Reese quickly.
About time for an innovative look brought to you by AT&T. Alabama and LSU tonight. Zach Mettenberger in his last couple games thrown some interceptions. Tennessee, Justin Worley had a little issue here, not realizing how quickly Landon Collins can cut underneath the route. Collins with a pick 6. Alabama's had 3 pick 6s this year. Mettenberger will need to take care of the ball against the Tide tonight.
Back to the offense, BYU. Up the middle for 3 yards, Jamal Williams.
You know, Anderson's been a real good fit here, and it's great to see how he's been really kind of embraced by this community. Very comfortable here. Everyone is happy to have him. Not once did we hear "he who shall not be named." No one ever said Brent Bielema. Not once.
Hill again trying to make something happen, but eventually Chris Portland comes up and finishes him off. But that was great coverage downfield by the Wisconsin secondary as Hill had nowhere to go.
Can we reduce that Butkus list to like 3 or 4 names and make sure he's on there? I mean, what hasn't he shown you today? Open field tackles, rushing the quarterback. Guy can flat out play.
3rd down and 9. Trap handoff. Weaving his way up the middle, but coming up short of the first down, Jamal Williams. So it will be 3 and out, and we'll see if Wisconsin uses a timeout here to try and preserve some time. It looks like they will.
You know, if you're BYU, you're content to get to halftime if you can hold the score here because you're off your game. Your quarterback, he is the heart and soul of what you do, and they haven't been able to rush the ball with him. 7 carries for 6 yards for Taysom Hill.
So it's a touchdown lead for Wisconsin, and it's now time to answer our Aflac trivia question. In the last 20 seasons, the only 2 teams with 6 Rose Bowl appearances. Last second guess?
Okay, I'm going to guess Wisconsin and USC. Well,
you ring the bell again.
Well, I mean, you know, the only other option might have been Ohio State. You knew it was USC.
Well, it's hard for Ohio State and Wisconsin to both go to 6 in the last 20 years. Line drive kick, Kenzel Doe to the 35-yard line. We'll step aside quickly and come back as the Badgers have plenty of time with 2 timeouts to add to their lead before halftime. Gary Anderson, the head coach at Wisconsin, and in college football, due in no small measure to Bronco Mendenhall. These two have a great relationship that dates back over 20 years. Gary Anderson was 30 years old. His wife was pregnant with their twins. And his best friend Kyle Whittington, who he was working for at Idaho State, was fired. So Kyle Whittingham gets fired as the defensive coordinator at Idaho State. And with Whittingham out, Anderson makes a moral stand and decides he doesn't think it's fair. He quits too. Ends up being a high school football coach, and 2 years later gets a call from Bronco Mendenhall at Northern Arizona. Abradaris makes the catch, and he suggests maybe he should come down and coach the D-line at Northern Arizona. That's how, without any promise that Gary Anderson would ever get back into college football, he got back in as a college coach because Bronco Mendenhall thought he would be good for that job, and now here he is 20 years later, plus as the head coach at Wisconsin. He's not sure he would even be in college football had it not been for that phone call from Bronco Mendenhall.
And before that, they were rivals before he came here because of the Utah State BYU rivalry.
3rd down and 4. And maybe BYU will be using their timeouts if they get a stop. Stop it. Abradaris, no, check that. Pedersen makes the catch, and that's good for a 1st down to the 49-yard line.
They still have timeouts left.
Stabby to the sideline, and that came out wobbly, hit as he threw. Let's quickly check in with Reese Davis.
Bob, real quick look ahead to the Lexus halftime report. Vanderbilt does something it hasn't done since the war era. An update on the exploits of one Jonathan Pigskin, and we'll look ahead to Alabama and LSU coming up in prime time tonight. Mark and Lou are ready. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, Reese, thanks very much. Jonathan Pigskin. I'm picturing Johnny Manziel with like a monocle and a sweater vest and a big recliner.
I think Pigskin's going to catch on.
Stabby underneath. Pedersen makes another catch, pays for it, but picks up 6. It will be 3rd down and 4, and now Wisconsin will use one of their remaining timeouts.
Yeah, and Fua bringing the leather at the end of that. Good, fair hit right at the numbers. Pedersen is a guy a lot of scouts like. Good soft hands for a big tight end.
Well, Pedersen almost left Wisconsin as a freshman. He was toiling on the scout team, but stuck through, and not only did it turn out to be a good decision, but a decision that might propel him to the NFL. You were talking about what his draft prospects might be.
Yeah, you know, if you follow or talk to some of the scouts and follow Todd McShay, I mean, he's kind of projected as a 4th to 6th round guy, and you know, he might even improve on that as the season goes on and as he gets to the combine.
3rd down and a long 4 after the timeout. 5-man rush coming. Stabby to the right side to Abradaris, and that's good for another 1st down. That will stop the clock with 52 seconds to go in the 1st half. Gain of 10.
Abradaris really runs those short routes very well. He can pivot, change direction, and he's such a competitor. Hard to hang on to him.
Stabby dumps it off. James White gets out of bounds. No gain.
Joel Stabby's pass complete to James White.
You still have a couple of timeouts. Use the clock well. You know your field goal kicker can nail one from the last one was about, what, 40, 38, somewhere around there.
And the wind helping, it seems, a bit going in this direction as well. Wisconsin still with 1 timeout left.
So you're probably going to get BYU turning up the heat a little bit as they get closer to field goal range.
You can see inside the 29-yard line is where the Badgers feel as if Russell's in his range. That ball deflected. It will be 3rd down and 10.
Now, the one thing you want to be aware of if you're Wisconsin is where is Kyle Van Noy? You know, 3rd down situation. He already has 1 pick. He's a guy that they will use for pressure, or they will use him as a rover and try and put him in position to make a play in the short passing area.
Third-team All-American that for the moment lines up over Abradaris. Now looks as if he's peeking in the backfield. Stays with Abradaris. And Stabby goes up the seam for Patterson. Down to about the 12.
What a job. All the attention focused on Abradaris, and Pedersen takes advantage over the middle.
Badgers get set quickly. Stave bullets one to about the 5-yard line. Kenzel Doe makes the catch. And let's see if the final timeout of the first half will be called by Wisconsin. It will, with 22 seconds to go. So they'll have it second down at the 5 and plenty of time to take a couple of shots at the end zone from the 5 and settle for a field goal if you come up short.
Yeah, but you can't get caught in the field of play now. Take a look here. You see Pedersen, he's the tight end, number 48. Just getting behind the linebackers, watch him go up. Now, he did this exact same thing against Iowa last week, came up with it and was able to bounce off a linebacker and get into the end zone. But he really leaps up very well for a tight end. So he's an option down here.
Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:25 Eastern, live on Watch ESPN coming up on Monday night. There is a storyline or two to discuss as the Dolphins meet the Bucs. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6:30 Eastern. You got to get about 20 storylines in before you get the football.
It's like a soap opera.
Second down from the 5. Stabby buying time, extending the play. Bullets one to the goal line and sneaking into the end zone. Touchdown. James White scoops up the pass and gets it across the goal line.
A really smart play by Stave, buying time, hanging in there, and an equally smart play by White, understanding where he is on the field. Getting himself into the end zone, not getting caught in the field of play.
So it's a 2-touchdown lead for Wisconsin as White has scored a pair, one on the ground and now one through the air in the first half.
Now White understands that he goes deep enough to where he knows he's not going to get himself tackled on the 2 or 3 yard line when they don't have any timeouts. Smart, savvy play by a senior who figures this out. That's an 11-play drive in just over 2 minutes.
.45 career total touchdowns for James White. That's a lot of points to score during your career, especially when, for the past couple of seasons, you kind of played second fiddle to Monte Ball. To score 45 touchdowns when you've never really been the premier
never
number one guy at the top of the depth chart. And this year, definitely a 1-2 punch with Melvin Gordon. Talk about a productive player that has always understood his role and embraced it, and no ego, unselfish, embraces Melvin Gordon and the role that he plays. It's complete. Coaching staff goes on and on about
complete team player.
Hine from the 3. Nice job on the tackle by Jordan Frederick.
Special teams play. I mean, he just got an inch of the leg. The inches are everywhere.
13-yard line, first down, BYU.
It's interesting watching BYU's offense take the field. They all get into a 3-point stance before they run out to now take a knee to go to the locker room at halftime.
Okay.
Taysom
I don't
Hill,
get it.
And Taysom Hill bottled up in the first half, only 60 yards of total offense.
Yeah, the rushing, that's the real thing.
And I guess this is BYU's version of taking a knee as they trap a handoff to Jamal Williams.
Wisconsin has taken Taysom Hill out of the offense. In the entire thing, the quarterback design runs, whether it's the lead, the zone read, the draw play, they've eliminated all that so far.
And that will take us to halftime. 17-3 Wisconsin. BYU won the toss and deferred their option to the third quarter, so they'll have the ball to start the second half as we go down to Quint.
Coach, what was more important, starting this game with a touchdown drive or finishing the second quarter with the touchdown?
Well, I don't know. Both very, very important. You know, we got to secure the football. It's a good football game right now.
What was your reaction to the 2 turnovers?
Don't like them. Can't do it. You know, we put ourselves in position to possibly have a score, get back in the red zone, and we turn it back over. So the other one, it's unfortunate. You know, ball falls in the guy's stomach and he makes a play. Those things happen.
What's the biggest point of emphasis now for your defense?
Well, our defense has got to continue to take care of Taysom. If we can do that, we'll have a shot. But we got to get him on the ground. We have an opportunity to sack him, or he's running the ball, tackle him physically.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, Taysom Hill averages close to 360 yards of total offense per game. He only had 60 total yards in the first half, and his team is down by 14. Time for the Lexus halftime report. Back to Reese Davis. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. Just about set for the start of the third quarter between BYU and Wisconsin. And it's the 24th ranked Badgers trying to make a late push for a possible BCS at-large bid with a 2-touchdown lead. Bob Wischusen, Rod Gilmore, Quinn Kesnick here in Madison. We talked about this at the start. An unusual matchup. 8 games into the respective seasons for both of these teams. An independent against a high-powered Big Ten team, but this could be something that could propel Wisconsin forward if they hold on.
Something at stake. I mean, I think it's an elimination game. I mean, the team that wins today really has a chance to ride this thing out and go 10-2. And if you're 10-2, you got a shot at getting into the BCS, either one of these teams. And you talk about the first half highlights. Well, Wisconsin had it rolling. Running the guy down the ball, James White. He was the focal point of the offense. Ran it for a touchdown, caught it for another one. But the big story really had to be the Wisconsin defense. They simply eliminated Taysom Hill from the equation. There was nothing he could do. The design runs for the quarterback, nothing. Scrambles, nothing. Throwing the football, not much either. So this defense has really shut him down. And as he goes, so goes BYU's chances of making a run to get to the BCS.
Well, BYU's only down 2 scores, and they start the third quarter with the ball. And they might start with pretty good field position. A short kick as Hine will bring it back across the 25 with a penalty marker down. And it looks like this is going to go against BYU.
During the return, a little block in the back. Returning team number 24. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So BYU football, but bad field position now as we go down to Quinn Kesnick.
Our wide receivers and running backs have got to start making some plays. That's what a typically subdued Bronco Mendenhall told me. He said Taysom Hill's being shut out. Every time they do the read option, Wisconsin's all over him. Our running backs have got to start making plays. One thing you notice about this BYU team towards the end of the second quarter, Bob, a little beat up. Devin Mahina, tight end, done with a groin. Mitch Matthews, he's out with a shoulder. And as if you were with us earlier, Spencer Hadley done for the day with the left knee. So that's 3 starters who will not play in the second half.
And Chris Borland trips up Taysom Hill after a gain of 4 on first down. So that diamond formation again for BYU. 2nd and 6 at their own 19. And Borland knifes up the middle again and helps on the stop. Plenty of penetration up front, and Conrad Zegzewski on the tackle as well.
He blew right through a lineman. I mean, Borland just threw a lineman out of the way and then got involved on the play. And he's all over Lasiki.
3rd down and 8. Taysom Hill, nowhere to go. Guess who's all over him again? Vince Beagle shares the sack with Chris Borland.
Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator, said he wanted to make sure he got Borland involved. He would use him in these situations. He's rushed him on first down. He's rushed him on 3rd down. And he just made play after play for this defense.
So the offensive numbers get worse for BYU. Kenzel Doe from midfield. Down the sideline goes Kenzel Doe. Nightmarish start to the third quarter for the Cougars. Scott Arlano, the punter, bumped him out of bounds or he might have scored.
Yeah, well, he buys himself a little time. Sorensen on the outside almost has a chance to get there, but a great block on Sorensen by Desmond Southward held up Sorensen. That allowed Kenzel Doe to get to the outside.
So as ineffective as Taysom Hill and the Cougars have been, that's just as effective as BYU or as the Wisconsin offense was to end the first half. Here's James White to the 20-yard line.
White has become the focal point of the rushing attack today. 12 carries, 67 yards. We have had Melvin Gordon out there quite a bit, but they're throwing it and handing it off to White today. 5 catches already.
James White went to St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Fort Lauderdale and shared backfield duties there with Giovanni Bernard. It's a pretty good deal, high school. Inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line where it will be 3rd down and 5, and you're starting to get to a do-or-die moment, it seems, in the game for the BYU defense, needing a 3rd down stop here.
Yeah, and if you have a way to push them out of the field goal range with a pressure package, you dial it up. But I don't expect Wisconsin to take the risk with a Cal Van Noy on the field. A field goal here does them almost as good as a touchdown. Gives you a 3-possession lead.
Against a BYU offense that only has 138 total yards to this point. Stop it. Right to the first down marker to Aberderis. And let's see where they spot the football. It looks as if it will move the chains.
Yeah, and BYU rolled the dice a bit. They were trying to get Cal Van Noy in there. I mean, they moved him from the outside to the middle and tried to free him up. Now watch him come right there. And they freed him up so he could make a play. But Stavi does a good job of getting rid of that football.
Stavi has been perfect on 3rd down. That's another 3rd down conversion. And he'll look for the end zone. Wide open, Aberderis. He missed him.
Little too strong. Aberderis ran a shake route, faked toward the post, came back outside, and lost his defender completely. Look at that. I mean, he lost the freshman out there. Sorry, the junior, Robertson Daniel had him. But he gave the move to the post, and Daniel went for it. Not going to get him any more wide open than that.
A dodged bullet for BYU. 2nd down and 10 from the 13. Melvin Gordon inside the 10. And it sets up another vital 3rd down. If BYU's defense can hold to a field goal, as you said, Ron, it would be still a 3-possession lead, but it might give them just a little bit of life breathed back into the game, getting a stop after a drive that begins inside your own 30-yard line.
Well, defensively, you think of it as a stop. You know, sudden change situation essentially where they start with the ball in your territory. If you hold them to a field goal, defensively, you feel pretty good.
Here comes a blitz up the middle. It's picked up. Stavi. Incomplete. No flag comes out. Jordan Frederick thought he was interfered with, and it will be a field goal attempt for Wisconsin. That's a good job by the BYU defense to get the 3rd down stop.
Yeah, and a great job actually up front by Wisconsin picking up the blitz. Stavi just misfired.
Jack Russell taking over for Kyle French. French was only 5 of 8 so far this season, losing the job to Russell, who had missed his first 2 but connected from 38 in the first half. And now he is good from 26 in the second half. 3-possession lead for Wisconsin. But still, Bronco Mendenhall knows his defense. Holding to a field goal is a good stop to get.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Dusk in Madison as the temperature gets a little chillier. But Wisconsin has been able to keep BYU's offense in the freezer from the start. 20-3. Wisconsin has the lead over a Cougar offense that came into today averaging over 32 points per game and over 511 yards of total offense. Talking about a top 12 offense in FBS. They might get a play on special teams here, though, as Hine with a good return out to the 38-yard line. Taysom Hill has not been able to run the football, Rod. You've mentioned that, but his #1 target, Cody Hoffman, has been targeted 7 times, only has 1 catch. It was a 3rd down conversion. Is that the answer to maybe getting Taysom Hill some production?
Well, part of the problem is the pressure on Taysom Hill. He doesn't have time to find Hoffman. And they got to find a way to protect him so that he can get the ball out to Hoffman.
There goes Taysom Hill. He escapes the pocket and picks up 9.5 yards, so it's 2nd down and short.
Sometimes that's all it takes to change the pace, to get the rhythm going for your best player.
Again, a 4-man rush, and there's a 1st down completion to Williams. And now they'll say incomplete, that he juggled it and did not complete the catch out of bounds. So it'll be 3rd down and 1.
Let's watch the end of the play here. He hasn't put it away. Oh, good call. That's a good call. That's a good call. He's still trying to find the handle on it, and he didn't put it away until he gets out of bounds.
Complete pass. The previous play is under further review.
So they are going to go to review to see if the call should or should not be confirmed. And this is a big call. This is either a 1st down in plus territory or a defensive front for Wisconsin that's dominated the line of scrimmage with a chance to get a stop on 3rd down at midfield.
Yeah, now remember, you have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call. Right there at that point, that does not look like control to me. That ball is up around his helmet. He's trying to gather it. He doesn't gather until that left foot is out of bounds. I think they will confirm that call. Now he gets control of it. Look where the left foot is when he has control of it.
So by the time he gathers control of the football, he's out of bounds.
Yeah. Have you been around a crowd that's had as much fun as this crowd has?
Every week. At Wisconsin?
Yeah, but how many crowds sing like this one?
Yeah, this crowd, you're right, they are into it from the start. And part of that, I think, has been how they've embraced Gary Anderson, involving them with that pregame speech that he does before the game in the locker room that they broadcast on the Jumbotron to the whole crowd here at Camp Randall before the game.
I thought it was only jump around.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass.
So now it's 3rd down and about 1.5 yards. Williams is the tailback, and the pistol flags down at the snap, and Williams, it looks like, was stopped short.
Way short.
Wisconsin in the neutral zone at the snap. It'll be a 1st down for BYU if Wisconsin was lined up offsides.
Well, Taysom Hill is pointing that way.
Offside, defense number 91. The 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
That's Konrad Zagzebski that was called for the penalty, and that flag was thrown right at the snap. So he was lined up in the neutral zone.
Yeah, he's involved in that package as their short yardage package. He's right there. He didn't even look at the ball.
That's a big 1st down for BYU and a chance for Taysom Hill. Connie Akua-Friel picks up 5 more.
Well, you heard Quint say that Bronco Mendenhall said the running backs have to help. Well, somebody's got to pick it up because they're not getting enough time to throw the ball down the field. There's just not enough protection.
Hill has a chance to go downfield here for Oppo. Inside the 10-yard line, it's broken up. Looked like the coverage by Darius Hillary was about as tight as it could be, and Hill almost found a way to fit it in there to Oppo.
He finally got protection. I mean, he was not under duress. He had time to look down the field, and then he just couldn't quite get it there. Pretty good play. Now, that's a catch. You got to catch that ball. I mean, Oppo's a junior, a highly regarded player coming out. Got to make that catch.
Third down, they try and run for it, and they pick it up easily. Paul Asike is able to move the chains on 3rd down and 5, so that's back-to-back 3rd down conversions for BYU.
Well, they have consistently run the ball on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6.
Blitz coming. Hill, man-for-man coverage down the sideline. Making the catch with flags down. Into the end zone, Cody Hoffman for a Cougar touchdown.
Well, Hill gets the protection. Now, look at the matchup. That's the strong safety southward on Hoffman. He's playing out there because Hoffman is 6'4".
Pass interference, defense, that penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Southward goes about 6'2", so he is the best physical matchup for Hoffman out there, and that was part of the plan. They wanted to get him on there. Hoffman just got a great release and got by him.
What a momentum changer for BYU as it gets them back in the game. The 32nd career touchdown reception for Cody Hoffman. He leads all active FBS receivers in touchdown catches. And it's a 10-point lead as BYU, for the first time today, moves the football and ends up with 7 to show for it.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind, and Applebee's. Vets and active duty military enjoy a free Applebee's entree on Veterans Day.
On Wisconsin from the UW Carolina, one of the largest in the country, 56 bells, dates back to 1936. And that feels like about that long between touchdowns for BYU as they finally are able to get 7 on the board. And it's Cody Hoffman, whose only other scholarship offer out of high school was Sacramento State.
Go figure, huh?
And he ends up at BYU, and now he's the most prolific receiver in the history of the school.
Pretty cool.
Denzel Doe takes a knee. Well, Rod, you called it. Pass protection in the first half not there. All of a sudden it is there, and it's a touchdown.
Look how they pick up Borland here. We saw that spin move work in the first half. Not so here. They give Hill time, and right now Southward is looking. He's praying, please don't throw that ball. Please don't throw that ball. But Hoffman comes up with it down there. That's a well-thrown pass and a great catch by Hoffman. I know that because I've been praying in that situation myself before.
Were your prayers ever answered?
No, the ball always came.
So now could BYU's defense get another stop and give their offense with some momentum a chance again? A little hitch out to the edge, using the stiff arm and getting down the sideline, James White. And he has a first down, unless he stepped out about a yard shy. Looks like they will mark him out at the 34. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
The challenge for the BYU defense that has been beaten up a bit is to find a way to stop those passes, that have been effective. I mean, White's caught, 6 balls now in this ball game. That's been a huge issue for the BYU defense.
White again, easy conversion on 2nd and 1. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Windows. Tonight, it's number 23 Notre Dame against a Pitt team they have beat 3 times in a row. Although these two teams played to a thrilling finish in triple overtime in South Bend last year. Now they're in the Steel City tonight. Saturday Night Football on ABC, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Mark may call for the upset tonight. He's got his Pitt boys.
Now it's Melvin Gordon at tailback. Play action for Stavi. Stopping is Aberderis. Just about to another first down mark. About a yard shy. A gain of 9 on first down.
Aberderis has been the guy only selectively tonight when they needed him on occasion. Just 6 catches, 49 yards. Remember that big game he had against Ohio State?
Well, Aberderis is as good a story as Cody Hoffman is for their respective schools. I mean, he came here as a walk-on quarterback and was still a walk-on as recently as 2011 because they needed a scholarship to be available when Russell Wilson transferred from NC State to Wisconsin. So he was about to be put on scholarship, and they had to change that around and ask him to pay his own way. Things worked out pretty well, I think, for Russell Wilson in the end as well. That's a first down run. Melvin Gordon keeps driving his legs into BYU territory.
I think I would have held that scholarship for Russell Wilson also. I got you a rose bump.
Jared Aberderis, number 3 in the Big Ten, at 6.3 receptions per game, 98 yards per game, and just another workmanlike day for a receiver that's had a remarkable career for the Badgers. Melvin Gordon into the heart of the BYU defense, and for the breakaway third down scat back type, he's run hard today. That's 4 more physical yards for Melvin Gordon.
Well, he is more than a scat back kind of guy, too. I mean, people think that because they see all the long runs that he's had, but he's put together, you know, 6'1", 205. The pro scouts love him. Many consider him the 2nd-ranked running back right now. I think he'll be the top-ranked running back by the time the draft comes along.
Gordon again for 3 more. It will be 3rd down and 4. And how about the balance for Wisconsin? That's now 27 pass attempts to 28 runs. 14 carries for Melvin Gordon. 14 carries for James White as he now comes back in. They just wear you down.
Yeah. Well, it's all about that big offensive line that allows them to do what they want. They protect the quarterback. They throw it when they want to throw it. You have to take them out of that rhythm and make them really a desperate throwing team in order to beat them.
Can BYU get a 3rd down stop and force a punt? They show blitz. They're bringing pressure. Stavi, he'll be tracked down. That time the pressure works. The first sack of the day, and it's Alani Fua that picks it up for BYU.
Well, Fua gets the blitz, but they brought a lot of guys. They brought Van Noy, Fua, and they brought someone from the inside. I think you're going to see about 7 guys coming in. Look at that. They bring everybody. That was telling you they know they needed a play. They had to come up with something.
It's a little life on that BYU sideline now as their offense just scored a touchdown on its last possession. And now the punt comes to the near side. Fair catch made at the 17-yard line by Ridley. And it will be Taysom Hill, Cody Hoffman, and the rest of the BYU offense back to work, down by 10. 5 minutes to go in the 3rd.
He's a #1 pick, and he plays like it.
The Spartans are loaded.
The Jayhawks are thinking national championship.
This is the real deal, man. Let's go. We're talking Kentucky.
This is their year.
What a freshman class.
It's going to be a battle.
Oh!
See all the hard work pay off on Tuesday.
College basketball season is underway, and 4 of the top 5 teams in America squaring off on Tuesday night. Back to the offense, BYU. Under pressure, Taysom Hill. Couldn't escape the sack. Shirked the first man, couldn't get away. Eventually polished off by Brendan Kelly, the 4th Wisconsin sack.
That one's on Taysom Hill. He's got to get rid of that football. That line held up as long as they could. That ball's got to come out or he's got to throw it away.
Second and 12, down the sideline looking for Hoffman. And it's incomplete, but a flag comes up. The Wisconsin sideline saying uncatchable. But it's Desmond Southward, who normally plays safety, but with that size advantage was moved to corner by Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator this week, thinking that would be a matchup that they could exploit against Cody Hoffman. Here's another look.
There is no foul on the play. The pass is ruled uncatchable.
That's a good job by the officials getting together, talking about that. You saw that it was the left hand that grabbed Hoffman, but it didn't matter. The ball was 5 to 10 yards beyond where Hoffman could have made a play on it.
3rd down and 12, close to 13. Trap play. Jamal Williams bottled up. Three and out for BYU. And the frustration of a head coach that saw flags come out that thought would give his team a first down.
Yeah.
To 2 snaps later, they're punting from inside their own 10-yard line.
Yep, but it was the right call. And the officials got together and worked on it.
Arlano gets away, an end-over-end kick, but it goes over the head of Kenzel Doe. What a change of field position this could be. It will roll inside the 10, down to about the 8. Wow, that's a 61-yard punt. Well, now the pressure is back on the BYU defense to make a mistake by Doe, letting that ball go over his head, stand up.
If you can do that, you keep them down there, you have a chance to flip the field position in favor of BYU.
Let's take a look at our BCS standings, brought to you by Allstate. Now, this will show you the top 10. Obviously, Wisconsin not a part of that. The only team that still remains to play in the top 10 tonight, Alabama and LSU.
Yeah, it's a tough ball game now. What will happen in light of Stanford's win over Oregon? Everyone assumes you just have to move up there.
Abradaris picks up about 4. Well, when you think about how, and you really have been almost impossible to be around for the past 24 to 36 hours, how Stanford, congratulations.
I didn't do it.
Hey, well, you know what? You could tell that there was some vibes in that building from John Elway being there, a lot of your old teammates.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an exciting atmosphere I know you were a part of on Thursday night, and give credit to your Cardinal because they were tremendous against Oregon.
Yeah, and it has an impact on the BCS and where things go now. You think about that situation. Oregon will move down and Stanford moves up. What happens to Ohio State and Baylor? You know, should Baylor continue to play well?
James White breaks a tackle. He's got a different gear when he gets to the sideline, all the way out to the 38-yard line. And boy, does that kill all the momentum of a 61-yard punt, as now Wisconsin's out close to their own 40.
Oh, he's having a night. He feels this, gets a great block right at the edge that springs him to the outside. That was Derek Watt, 34, who made that block that got White to the edge.
Back to the BCS, though, for a moment. If you had to handicap it after this play, I'm just wondering what odds you would give for the championship game to not be Alabama-Florida State. High formation on first down. Now it's Melvin Gordon. He takes the handoff, and he works his way up the middle for about 5 more. So what do you think?
I think the answer to that is that Florida State has the easiest path to go undefeated. And
so
then
you're putting Florida State in the game.
I'm putting them in. And there's no one in the regular season they have left. You figure they might get Miami again or Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game. They'll be heavily favored against either one of those teams.
They might get Duke.
They could Duke,
all is said and done.
So I'm putting Florida State in. Question is, can Alabama run the table with what they have left? LSU tonight and then an SEC championship game? That's a tougher road.
Stavi on a rollout, flips it to a wide-open Pedersen. He's got another first down.
How about that throw? That is a nice throw. That's a lot harder than people realize. You are moving to your right, and he puts this in a nice position where his tight end, Pedersen, can keep moving. Look at this. Right there. Put the ball right there. Let him run. Lead him to it. Catches it and can turn right upfield. That's a nicely thrown ball.
Stabby with another play action fake. Long throw to the sideline. There's Abradaris. That's another first down. 13 more for Wisconsin.
You just saw Stabby working to the right side. Athletic enough to come right back the other way. And Abradaris, who's been running that route all game long, faking inside and moving back out toward the sideline.
8th catch for Abradaris. And Stabby continues to be, it seems like, the perfect quarterback for this system. You've got the two-headed monster at tailback. He manages the game, uses play action again here on a rollout all kinds of time. Makes the decision to tuck it under and run and get what he can.
But you see what you're getting with Wisconsin right now? They're dictating. They throw when they want to throw. They can do play action on first down. They've controlled this game. So when they decide to throw the football, they have you at a disadvantage. You have to get them behind the chains.
And there's the balance with the two running backs.
Well, when they can do that to you, you've got a real problem with this team.
And they're both on the field right now as Gordon is flexed out to the near side left. Or check that White. Gordon the tailback. And it's Melvin Gordon. Finds a crease. He's got another Wisconsin first down.
That offensive line is just rolling inside. We talked about Volt stepping in for Llewellyn at center. Continues to do a great job. Much better than I thought that they could at the beginning of this ball game.
BYU must hold to a field goal, you would think, on this drive. That would keep it a two-possession game and might give them some hope as we head to the fourth quarter. But it has been Wisconsin for most of the game that has dictated tempo. While we were away, they warmed themselves back up here at Camp Randall. They jumped around. Players get into it too. It's one of the great traditions in college football. The booth shaking up and down.
I haven't been here in a while, and it felt like an earthquake.
Well, that's saying something for a Bay Area guy. As we start the fourth quarter with Wisconsin possibly taking a three-possession lead again. Stabby on a rollout. To the sideline, stepping out of bounds is Pedersen. Inside the 20-yard line, he'll be marked out at the 18 for a gain of 4.
Well, if you're BYU, you have to come up with a play. You can't give up any more than 3 here. You give up 7, you've got a real problem. So your defense has to hold up. You have to find a way to bring pressure or something to push them out of here or get a takeaway. But a touchdown almost kills you.
Gordon finds a cutback lane and pays a heavy price at about the 14-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
The good running backs always make the first guy miss. Whether you juke him or run over him, that's what you have to do. And Kyle Van Noy, he's as good as it gets when it comes to tackling. And Melvin Gordon just left him standing.
BYU's defense does force a 3rd down here as James White is in a tailback. White off the right side has the first down and more. Touchdown number 3 on the day for James White.
Keep your eye on Watt. Watch his block, and then watch the move right there by White. Great cut, found the hole, but it was Derek Watt, the fullback, that got to the edge and delivered the great block that gave White room to go.
His big brother, JJ, I'm sure with some pride, as Derek Watt paves the way for James White. White over 100 yards, up to 113. 1 touchdown through the air, and that's his 2nd on the ground. Melvin Gordon, James White, 2 pretty good tailbacks, but Rod Gilmore, an unsung hero sitting in between them.
Yeah, that'd be Derek Watt delivering the great blocks that allow Goodwin, Gordon, and White to get it done. But you know what? They ought to reward him. He hasn't carried the ball once all season.
Ine watches the kickoff go through the back of the end zone. So it's time now for our Discover Card Game Changer, brought to you by Discover Card. And James White, 160 total yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and 1 as a reception there as well.
Yeah, he's just done a tremendous job tonight, splitting time, but making decisive cuts. And that touchdown catch that we saw a moment ago was a thing of beauty. Time running out, knew where he was on the field, got himself into the end zone so that they didn't get caught in the field of play, and they got the points out of it. He's just played a very, very smart, efficient, and exciting ball game.
Slant to Hoffman. Out to the 42-yard line. Quickly back to Reese Davis.
Bob, time to look in on A&M Mississippi State as Johnny Manziel, uses his real name every now and then, continues to put on a show. Has thrown 2 picks, but that really doesn't matter when you throw 4 touchdown passes. 30-14, Texas A&M on top of Mississippi State.
Well, Reese, the BYU Cougars now need Taysom Hill to do his best Jonathan football impersonation as they are down 3 scores once again with over 13 minutes to go.
Yeah, they're trying to run that option play where Hill has the option to throw the football, but Wisconsin's taking away the pass and forcing him to keep it.
Jamal Williams to midfield, a couple of yards shy of the first down. In spite of the fact that BYU is up-tempo, a maximum snap offense, how out of their game plan and out of their comfort zone are they now, down by 3 scores in the 4th quarter?
Well, they've been made one-dimensional. You know, they can't run it, and they can't run it with Taysom Hill. And that's changed them. They got to pick this up here. Hill might have to run it.
Looks like a timeout was called from the Wisconsin sideline before the snap.
Timeout.
And
Wisconsin.
that might have done BYU as much a favor as it did Wisconsin, as the Cougars seemed a little discombobulated, trying to get players on the field just before the snap as well.
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. Get the right car without all the drama. Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Farmers. Get smarter at Farmers.com.
They've got their own dairy center here on the Wisconsin campus. These are high-tech cows.
You're killing me, Smalls.
I'm just saying.
You're killing me.
The ear tag that they're wearing, it's got a sensor in it. So it walks into the milking station, and they know the last time the cow was in there.
Yeah,
They're not joking around.
I know, you did that for me.
Center.
You're just killing me, Smalls.
3rd down play after the timeout. It'll be a 4th down play. And you have to think Wisconsin is going to be looking at a BYU offense that's compelled to go for it. Down 3 possessions at midfield. Will they punt or will they leave their offense on the field? Yet you think they have to leave their offense out there.
Well, it's a tough deal, though. I mean, you can't run it. You have to throw it here. You've had no success running it. That's a tough deal. They might call timeout because Wisconsin's not ready for this.
It looks like another timeout was called by Wisconsin. They had Kenzel Doe on the field all the way back at about the 5-yard line, deep to receive what he thought was going to be a punt. So he was sprinting, trying to get off the field as he finally realized it was still the BYU offense out there to run a 4th down play.
If they go for it here, you know what that says? That says Bronco Mendenhall does not believe his defense can stop them if they kick the ball away. Because ordinarily, you would punt this football.
Even down 3 possessions with 12 minutes to go?
Yeah, because you'd get a short field. If you believed your defense could hold them, you'd punt the ball away, get them inside the 10 or 15, and then get a 3 and out, get the ball back around midfield or better.
All right, so he's counting possessions, and
yes.
with Taysom Hill, with this type of production today, he can't imagine he's going to get 3 more possessions out of the game.
Fair, absolutely. So he wants to, he's making a stand right now.
And now a flag down before the 4th down play.
Illegal substitution.
12 men on the
Offense,
field.
12 men.
That's moving.
Formation. 5-yard penalty. The down remains 4th.
Well, how about 12 men on the field out of a timeout?
Yeah, that's brutal. That is
now,
brutal.
a much lower percentage to go for it on 4th down. Now you might be compelled to punt.
Well, you have to. You have to kick it now. To go 4th and 18 or so and try and figure that out, 4th and 8 and try and figure that out, that's a tougher deal. Now, you're also unlikely to back them up inside their 15-yard line. You're probably going to give them the ball somewhere around the 20.
7th punt of the day for BYU. Arlano with some hang time. Kenzel Doe waving his teammates away. And this will work out nicely for BYU. It does get inside the 15, out of bounds at the 13-yard line. 43-yard punt, no return. And Jimmy Johnson has a slim 7-point lead over Matt Kenseth. The chase for the Sprint Cup hits the home stretch as they head to Phoenix. Only 2 races remain as the series will be at the Phoenix International Raceway tomorrow. For the NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup at Phoenix, presented by Quicken Loans, 2 Eastern on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN.
You know, Jimmy said earlier in the week he was in this exact spot last year and didn't close the deal.
Let's see if Wisconsin can close the deal now, as it is do or die for the BYU defense. James White against a Cougar defensive front that was all but selling out to stop the run, still picks up 6 yards.
Yeah, I'm still so impressed with his patience. He was not in a hurry there. He waited for the blocks, picked his way through, picked up a good 4 or 5 yards on that. Call it 6.
We'll look at some of the games that are coming up later on this evening here on ESPN, ESPN2 and ABC. And UCF, very interesting team that could find their way into the BCS before all is said and done. They're ranked 21st, something they are as underrated as Wisconsin might be. 24th. What kind of day has it been for James White? He keeps it rolling all the way out to the 44-yard line.
You know, this combination, and I'm not just talking about the 2 running backs, the combination of what this offensive line has done and the vision and patience of White. Great blocking up front, and how about White seeing everywhere he needs to cut back against the flow of the defense. Watt, the fullback, doing a tremendous job. I mean, the blocking has just been tremendous.
Stabby lost the football. Patterson covered it up. You'd think about the only thing that could derail the Wisconsin offense and give BYU hope would be an unforced error, and that's almost what we had, as Stabby just couldn't handle the snap.
Yeah. Yeah, he just gave that one up.
And there was Kyle Van Noy, that close to a fumble recovery. Now it's Melvin Gordon's turn as the eye back. He's to midfield, 4 yards shy of a first down. And this, you'd think, is a do-or-die play for BYU on 3rd down and 4. They have to have a stop.
Yeah, and I assume you're going to see Wisconsin, you know, run it. I mean, there's no reason for Wisconsin to have to throw the football. You're up 3 scores. You can keep rolling the clock. And the way your defense has been playing, you shouldn't be too worried if you actually kick it away and give them another opportunity. Look at the numbers for James White.
It's his 15th career 100-yard rushing game, and Wisconsin is undefeated in the previous 14 when he rushes for 100 or more. This time tripped up, though. So it will be 4th down, and Wisconsin will have to punt, but they've changed field position to the point now that you have to think, at best, BYU will be at about their own 15-yard line after the kick.
Well, and you're squeezing BYU. You're shortening the game. You ran it 3-4 straight plays. Your running clock. Your defense has been playing well. You're likely to back up BYU now. I mean, all that is good for you. That's how you go about closing out games.
You were talking about the pressure that was on the BYU defense, not just to get the ball back, but to make sure you get the ball back by getting a stop inside the 20-yard line, so you're starting at your own 40 instead of your own 15. And now a wobbly kick, and Ridley fields it at the 11-yard line with 8:48 to go. So it was a drive for Wisconsin that did not result in any points, but it was still a success. Well, it's a weekend that we honor all of America's heroes who have served in the armed forces, and You can see they carry their school colors overseas with them. Our soldiers all around the world sporting hats, jerseys, T-shirts, telling you where they went to school. We salute these courageous veterans, past and present, who have fought for our country here in the U.S. as well as overseas. Some wounded warriors were honored in the first half here at Camp Randall, and that was about as loud as the crowd has been for any Wisconsin touchdown.
Absolutely.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, and love the tribute from the Naval Academy by Sports Center yesterday. Outstanding.
Taysom Hill checks down underneath to Jamal Williams. Flag down as Williams picks up 2 yards. Desmond Southward out there to help on the tackle, and did he commit a penalty?
Well, the flag came out as soon as he made contact, so probably was something around where he got him with the hand, if it was up around the face mask or so. Well, actually, flag came in after Borland showed up.
There is no foul on the play.
So after the conference, they determined that the face mask was not grabbed. And it will be second down and about 9 or so at the 12-yard line for BYU.
It's the second time we've seen this crew talk through a situation and pick up a flag.
And both times a penalty BYU thought they had and didn't get the benefit of the doubt, as now Cody Hoffman breaks towards the post. Taysom Hill throws it out, and it's third down and 9, and more pushing and shoving after the whistle.
Well, if you're Wisconsin, you're probably planning on trying to take away Hoffman. They've got the big corner, Southward, over there on him. Do they give help that way?
Taysom Hill, high throw to the sideline for Hoffman. He's got it. What a catch. Did they rule him down in bounds? Yes, they will. What a reception by Cody Hoffman out to the 42-yard line.
Yeah, he was just singled up on Southward. And because there was so much time for Hill, Hill was able to find him. Look how long it takes this play to develop. I mean, he comes back. That's that same route we've seen a couple of times tonight, that shake route.
This play was a catch inbounds. Previous play is under further review.
Did the toe just barely get a piece of the field before he was knocked out of bounds by Desmond Southward? They rule this a catch on the field.
Now, we know he's got control.
And it looks like his toe is on the turf there.
But now, remember, you have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. From this angle, that's a touchdown there with that left foot. I'm sorry, right foot. Yeah, that's one that you can confirm. Clearly, you don't have anything to overturn that one. But to me, that looks like you confirm that one with that right toe on the right foot touching down.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Catch inbounds. First down.
Didn't take long.
It's the way it should be.
What a play by Cody Hoffman.
Well, and BYU needs more chunk plays like that. And if they're going to single up Southward on Hoffman, all you need is some protection. I mean, Hoffman should win that battle.
They've got Southward right up on the line. Taysom Hill goes away from Hoffman to the far sideline instead, and Oppo has it knocked away. Darius Hillary came up and knocked it out of bounds. It'll be second down and 10.
Yeah, I like the matchup. If I'm BYU, I need chunk plays. And if they're going to single up Southward on him, on Hoffman, that's where you're more likely to get your chunk plays.
It'll be third down and 10. Nowhere to go for Jamal Williams. Blitz coming. Down the sideline, it's Huffman. Just barely has it graze his fingertips. And now it's 4th down and a long 9, close to 10.
Yeah, I don't think you have any choice. I think you have to try and go for it here if you want to have another possession.
And they've got the punt group out there.
Yeah, well, I don't think you can stop it to get enough possessions. That ball right there, just a little bit beyond the reach. Hoffman looking back and trying to run it down. Still a little bit of wind carried away from him. But you punt here, you're not going to have enough possessions.
Yeah, you're waving the white flag by punting here. You just don't have enough time. So this is Bronco Mendenhall all but ending the game on Wisconsin's behalf as it is down inside the 20-yard line to about the 19. Gary Anderson knows his team is maybe one good possession away from salting this game up. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. Gary Anderson, his old friend Bronco Mendenhall squaring off today, as Gary Anderson spent his time at Utah State and led Utah State to an 11-win season and a bowl victory last year before getting the call once Brett Bielema had made the move to Arkansas to replace Bielema here at Wisconsin. These are two men that go back a long time, all the way back to their junior college playing days where they squared off against one another.
Long history.
And it's James White in at tailback looking to add to a 144-yard day. And he'll add about 2.5 more yards as we go back to Reese.
All right, guys, back and forth they go. Texas A&M and Mississippi State. This is Trey Williams going in for the Aggies. That was on the heels of about a 75-yard pass from Manziel to Evans. 37-20 now as they head to the 4th quarter.
Well, Reese, Wisconsin is in control against BYU here by 3 scores with 7 minutes to go. And we were during the break still talking about how surprising it was that Bronco Mendenhall would have decided to punt and give the ball back to Wisconsin with 7.5 minutes left. Now it's Melvin Gordon at tailback. Even had he gone for it on 4th down with a flag down on that last play, Rod, you're not sure if you're going to get 3 more possessions. You certainly don't think you'll get 3 more possessions after the punt.
No, there's just no way. I mean, unless you get lucky and you get a fumble to give you a quick score, you just wouldn't get even 2 more possessions, let alone 3.
Holding, 75 offense. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Having said that, Bronco Mendenhall, interesting talking to him this week, trying to do something as an independent that he then views still is a route BYU could take to a possible national championship. Can any team outside of Notre Dame and their resources really compete for a national championship as an independent?
I think the change next year to the committee will help them.
And a 4-team playoff.
A 4-team playoff and the chance to have a strength of schedule that will be respected by the committee, and you don't have to worry about the computers. I think that will give them a better chance than the system that we're currently under.
Stavi to throw. Pedersen has it knocked away. And that's an interesting call by Wisconsin as they will stop the clock on BYU's behalf, and they'll kick it back.
And the reason I say that is, under this system, you almost have to go undefeated to have a real good shot at it. Under the next system, I believe you can probably lose a game and still be considered by the committee. And if your schedule is tough enough, you could possibly even lose 2 games and still be considered worthy of playoff consideration.
Spiraling kick, Ridley from the 33. Made the first man miss and gets out to about the 44-yard line. Well, here's what BYU so far has played this season, what they have left. Now, they've got some household names on that schedule. You've got Texas up there at the start of the season, Georgia
tough
Tech,
Utah team,
Wisconsin on the
Boise
road, Notre
State.
Dame on the road.
Yeah, and then, still Notre Dame. So the theory for them going into this game is that if you knock off Wisconsin and you knock off Notre Dame, you run the table, you're 10-2, and you look at the BCS folks and you go, hey, look at our schedule. We're 10-2. Don't you want to consider us? I mean, that's the argument this year. Next year, the argument is a better argument because you're talking to a committee.
Taysom Hill throws one out in the flat, and that's good for about a gain of 7 yards to Pritchard.
All the computer sees is 2 losses. or 3 losses.
So you think they will, as an independent, be able to schedule with enough ambition to impress a committee? I guess the hard part is getting teams, when you're an independent, to come to Provo. Now, you're always going to be able to get road games as Taysom Hill throws one to Cody Hoffman, and he's down to about the 34-yard line. But can you get teams to come to your building when they're not required to, because they're not in any type of a conference that would require them to play road games against you?
Maybe not 1-for-1, but BYU has shown a willingness to go on the road and to do kind of scheduling that puts them on the road more than being at home.
Jamal Williams hounds his way to about the 28-yard line. Let's go down to Quinn.
Bob, that's the big question, getting quality home games. And you miss out on a conference championship, obviously. They do have future dates with teams like Michigan, Nebraska, USC, Stanford, Cal, Notre Dame, and Boise. But the question, can you get those heavy hitters to come to Provo?
Yeah, looking down the road, aren't most of those games scheduled as pure road games for BYU? Some of those, you know, at some point might be neutral site games, because we've got a lot of the early season games that are fun to do. As Taysom Hill gets outside, he's down to the 21-yard line, but hard to imagine when those teams aren't, because they aren't in a conference you're a part of, compelled to come to Provo, that they would.
I think BYU will be okay with that. I mean, we've already seen them showing a willingness to go on the road and to do what they want to do, which is to visit and spread the LDS message, and also to compete for a national championship. They know they got to go on the road.
A little tunnel screen to Skylar Ridley, and he's down to the 7-yard line. Wisconsin exchanging yardage for time, but with 4.5 minutes to go, BYU try to get in the end zone, make it a 2-possession game, and then you'd have to think they'd be looking onside kick.
Well, the first thing you do is if you get in the end zone, and then if you get in, you just kick the PAT. Don't worry about going for 2 yet.
That's knocked down. Joe Schobert climbed the ladder.
You know what I mean?
Make it 2nd down and goal.
You don't want to start chasing 2 points.
2 doesn't help you, because no, you're down by 17. It's 3 possessions no matter what.
You get the 6, you kick the PAT, then you go onside kick, and you hope.
The flat, it's Pritchard. He's down to the 3-yard line. It will be 3rd down and goal.
And Wisconsin, little Bucky Badger, is just saying, hey, take as much time as you want. We're going to let you throw it in front and tackle you and keep you in the field of play. Run the clock, burn it up.
3rd and goal at the 2. And now they have to call timeout. Some confusion on the 3rd down play.
Timeout.
And
BYU.
It looked as if Taron Houck didn't know where to line up, and he was taking an earful not only from the sideline but also from Taysom Hill, because BYU has to burn a timeout now with 3:47 remaining.
Well, this Wisconsin defense has just been outstanding. Look what they've done to the BYU offense. You know, 307 total yards. They're typically over 500. And it all started with taking Taysom Hill out of the design quarterback runs. They would not let him run the football. And then that changed everything. It took the offensive game plan completely off track.
Taysom Hill today has 14 carries for 21 yards, to your point.
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy who went for 259 on the ground against Texas. Ran it well against Boise State. He's 100 yards a game plus rushing the football at quarterback. Nowhere near that today.
After the timeout, 3rd and goal. A little toss. Heenan blown up at the 5-yard line. Well, now you're in a position where one of the 3 scores that you need has to be a field goal. But will you get back down inside the 10-yard line? Can you afford for this to be a drive that doesn't result in a touchdown?
I think you got to get the points. I mean, I would go points. You need 3 scores.
And they're going to go for the touchdown from the 5-yard line.
Now, you extended the game earlier by punting. Now you don't kick the 3. You miss this, you're done.
Taysom Hill back in the end zone, and they've got the 6. Cody Hoffman with a touchdown catch, his 2nd of the day. They had to have it, and they got it.
Yep. Well, they could not come away empty. I didn't think they'd be able to pull this off.
Well, they're a long way from having pulled it off, because this kind of goes back to the first guess of punting rather than going for it.
Correct.
With 7.5 minutes to go. Now you've made it a 2-possession game, but 3 minutes and 12 seconds left. You only have 2 timeouts remaining.
Yeah.
Is there any reasonable way to get 2 more possessions out of this game?
Well, only if you get the onside kick and score quickly and get another onside kick and score quickly. And that's Hoffman just getting across the middle, beating coverage. He had Shelton on him, and he just beat him to the inside, which should never happen down on the goal line if you're a corner. You never want to let the receiver get inside of you down there.
That drive took 2 minutes and 53 seconds. They only have 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Windows, showcases number 23 Notre Dame. They've won 4 in a row. They've won their past 3 meetings with Pitt, and that will be the matchup tonight. Saturday Night Football on ABC, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, as Brian Kelly will take on Paul Christ, of course, the old offensive coordinator here at Wisconsin, who moved from Wisconsin to take over that Pitt program, but they'll be in prime time tonight. So the ball has to get to the 45-yard line for it to travel the necessary 10 yards for the onside kick. And the hands team is out there for Wisconsin. There's the bounce, and it is recovered by the Badgers. On top of that, a flag thrown back where the ball was kicked from. And it looks like
kicking team, penalties decline, first down.
It was BYU that was offside, so Wisconsin has the football as we go back to Reese.
Guys, Brady Hoke is yet to lose a home game, up 13-10 on Nebraska. Just over 2 minutes to go. That was supposed to be an option. Turned into a forward pass from Tommy Armstrong to Amir Abdullah. 46 seconds left. Nebraska's up by 4.
Was marked on the 40-yard line.
Wow.
First and 10, Wisconsin.
Nebraska coming back.
Well, the home win streak doesn't look like it's in jeopardy today for Wisconsin. You said this was your first trip to Camp Randall in a long time. And having been here and experienced this atmosphere, it's not hard to understand why, going back to 2004, Wisconsin is 59-6 in this building, and they're about to win their 29th in a row against non-conference competition. LSU is the only team in America with a longer non-conference home win streak than Wisconsin, at least as things stand now.
Yeah, there's a bit of a home field advantage here. I mean, it's a great venue. They get a bunch of fans in here who have a grand old time. They're loud. It's all pretty good.
Speaking of pretty good, James White has been just that today. But this time he's got nowhere to go.
James White on the carry.
I think I might give White the rest of the night off. He's carried the load pretty much today.
So BYU spends a timeout, stopping the clock with 2:22 remaining. And we talked about how good Wisconsin has been here at home. Further evidence, 4-0 so far this season. They had only allowed 1 home touchdown in their previous 4 home games before today. They've allowed 2 to BYU today, but Alabama was the only team that was allowing fewer points per game at home coming into this game than the Badgers.
Well, and keep in mind, they got a lift today too. And when they got Borland back in the defense, back on the field after missing last week at Iowa, that really helped their defense. And he is the heart and soul of what they do defensively.
It'll be 4th down as Kyle Van Noy comes through with a heavy hit. And we'll see if BYU will spend their final timeout with 2:18 to go, so they will. So spinning this forward, assuming Wisconsin is able to hang on.
I think they will.
For those that might just be joining us or weren't with us before, you see a legitimate roadmap to the Badgers possibly finding their way into the BCS if you play this forward.
They're still alive. Keep in mind that if you have 9 wins and you're in the top 14 in the BCS, you're eligible for the BCS. Now, if they win out, they'll have 10 wins. And they're at 24 now. They will probably continue to move up as they win. they do that, they'll be eligible. And if you're thinking about, well, what if Ohio State and Michigan State are in the mix? Well, if Ohio State continues to win, and let's say they beat Michigan State in the Big Ten championship game, Michigan State might not be eligible. They might be outside that top 14 or so. So there's a path for Wisconsin. May not be an easy path, but there is a way they would still be eligible.
And we talked about the Badgers being an undervalued team at 6-2. Well, that's because one of their losses is arguably a loss that should not have happened.
Yeah, talk about that Arizona State game where they were hijacked about 14, 16 seconds where they would have had a chance to kick a game-winning field goal.
Now, they may not have made the field goal, but it was this sequence at the end. Mismanagement by the officials that was admitted to by the Pac-12. That's small comfort for Wisconsin, though.
Yeah, you see the clock there, and you see how Stavi puts the ball down instead of handing it to the official, puts it down. Arizona State assumed that it was a fumble, jumped on it, and they couldn't get it all squared away. Time ran out.
Taysom Hill throws one up, and that'll be a flag. Sojourn Shelton, true freshman corner, just about tackled Cody Hoffman, so that'll be a 15-yard penalty.
How about Gary Anderson's honesty? We talked about the Arizona State game. He said, you know, the team's fine, team's over. I'm not. I'm still ticked off about it.
There's no foul in the play. The pass is ruled uncatchable.
That's the second time a pass interference flag has been picked up today. And this time, it looks like Bronco Mendenhall wants a further explanation. He's about 15 yards out on the field.
Well, Bronco's point here is a good one. It doesn't have to be a pass interference call. It can be holding. He just grabbed him and held him. And that's what he was looking for.
Hoffman, that'll roll the clock at about the 17 or 18-yard line. Well, part of the reason you can make an argument that the pass was uncatchable was because 10 yards before he would have gotten to where the ball landed, he was all but tackled. Of course the pass looks uncatchable if you tackle a guy in the middle of his go route down the sideline.
He did mug him.
There goes Taysom Hill. One of the first times today we have seen him escape containment, and now he moves the chains and stops the clock, at least for the moment. But BYU out of timeouts and most likely out of possessions.
Now, you know, BYU already has a bold invitation in their back pocket.
Yeah, they'll be playing in the fight hunger ball as that ball bounces around. It falls incomplete. That, of course, if they don't make it to a BCS game, which is all but a certainty with the loss today.
Yeah, now Hillary has a chance to get this one. This ball is kicked right up to him.
Ethan Armstrong gets a pass defensed. Lasike close to a first down, but that will keep the clock rolling as he's about a yard shy.
I wonder if, even if Wisconsin were to run the table, 10 wins, given the general view about the Big Ten, could that hamper them so that they would not rise high enough in the rankings to get inside that number 14?
Taysom Hill out on the edge and gets out of bounds. 51 seconds to go.
Well, if you're thinking they still have a shot here, they'd have to get at least to about the 27, 28-yard line and kick a field goal, and then come right back with an onside kick.
Jamal Williams out of bounds at the 41-yard line with 45 seconds to go. And this is an area where a lot of times you don't necessarily see teams think that ahead. As soon as they get into field goal range, they should kick it.
They should kick it.
No matter what the down is.
Yeah.
Because you have to have some time left on the back end to try the onside kick. Up the seam, that is dropped. And that's the second time we've seen Ross Oppo have a chance to make a big play and not able to hold on.
Well, and that one would have done it. That one would have put them in range to just rush right up, spike the ball, and kick a field goal, and then try an onside kick.
with a first down. And now you can make an argument you should kick the field goal right here.
Yeah.
You're right at the field goal virtual line based on where we talked to them before the game, and it doesn't look like they're going to send the field goal unit out.
Well, you still have a little bit of wind in your face. That's a little bit of an issue.
You're not going to have enough time, though,
no, you're
to
going to
try
run
an onside kick.
Yeah, and especially if you run the football.
Yeah, that all but ends the game.
Nah, it's over. I mean, if you're going to run it, you might as well have tried the field goal.
Hill with a spike. 12 seconds to go. And it will be too little too late.
Yeah. I mean, to me, in that situation, you try the field goal or go ahead and take the shot to the end zone. At least I can buy that. But
well, sooner or later, you'd need a Hail Mary on one of these two possessions, so you try it here.
Yeah, either kick the field goal or throw it into the end zone, but don't hand the ball off and run there and then burn your clock.
Taysom Hill trying to buy some time. And this will all but end the game. And it's knocked away at the goal line, and that'll do it. So Wisconsin with a very impressive 27-17 win over BYU. And Bronco Mendenhall and Gary Anderson, two old friends and two old coaching colleagues, with a hard-fought battle that is won by Anderson.
Good team, physical.
So Gary Anderson's team has now won 6 in a row. We go down to Quinn.
Coach, how do you best describe the play of your offensive line and running back James White?
Yeah, they were physical in a very tough game. Very tough game, tough. BYU is a really good football team. I got great respect for them, and it was a team effort. We found a way to get it done.
What was the most critical aspect of your defense?
I think the ability, for the most part, to handle Taysom a little bit, not let him get going. And he's such a good athlete. If he can run the ball, the offense just explodes on you.
You told us yesterday this was a team, BYU, you knew very well. The Wisconsin, your team here didn't really know them very well. What did you make apparent to them this week in your preparation?
Well, these are smart kids here, They watched the film of BYU, and they understood real quick, but I just tried to remind them that this is a very good team that believes they can beat anybody on any given day, and we were lucky to get out here with the win. It's a great victory for us.
Coach, congratulations. See you next week. Indiana comes to town.
And Quint will be right back here. As pardon me, it's a 4-game win streak right now for Wisconsin, so they'll be looking for their 5th win in a row next week, when right here at Camp Randall they take on Indiana. So the Badgers outlast BYU by 10, and their defense dominated what normally is a nearly unstoppable Cougar offense. Terrific win for Wisconsin. So long from Camp Randall.